Joseph, I love the dynamic between young Dwayne and his father. You're playing this iconic wrestler, and Dwayne just looks up to him so much. For some of the father-son dynamics we will be seeing between you this season.
Um, I mean, at the end of the day, he loves his son. So you're going to see a lot of that with the younger Dewey. And then I don't know, when we get to that 20-year-old Dwayne, you might see a little head bump. We'll just have to find out.
Stacey, it's so sweet to see how much Dwayne's mom really loves him and wants him the best for him. What are we going to be seeing between him and his mom this season? Last season, we saw a bit of thievery from her son.
Yeah, well, without giving too much away, there's always a bit of a journey, as any mum would know. It's leading with love, but sometimes that love has to be a bit it's a bit tough love and life lessons. So there's definitely a little bit more of that, and it's interesting that Joseph mentioned the older Dewey, because I find it's quite often the middle Dewey with me, which is Bradley Constant. That's usually where he's kind of going through something that mum has to sort of step in and kind of shift him more in the right direction. So similar to season one, it's a roller coaster, which is always really interesting to watch.
Hi, Stacey. Atta is such a legendary personality in the wrestling community, and I'm wondering how much time do you get to spend with her hearing some of her stories?
At the start of filming season one, we did get to do a bit of that and hearing the stories and experiences that she had. Not so much for this season. It was more, I think, focusing in on whatever the scripts are saying and sort of following that storyline. And then if there were any questions or things that you wanted in terms of nuances, then those questions could be posed. But it's not really an ongoing kind of thing. It's more, I guess, reaching out if there were any specific questions about stuff. And also we have Brian Gerwitz from Seven Bucks, who is with us on the ground. So he was really a great source of, I guess, the details around, again, specific events that I don't want to give away, but because I'm not, 100% kind of familiar with the wrestling world myself, so there were always little things that we could go to Brian with and just say, hey, what does this mean? Or like, what would this sort of vibe be on an event like this? Or where would the family be? Or that sort of stuff that definitely helped with performance. Yeah.
And she's clearly the glue holding her family together. And in the past, Dwayne has been open about the toll that took on her. Is that something that we'll see explored in season 2?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and it's a really interesting thing because speaking with Atta, and just also like you've touched on the things that Dwayne has put out publicly, I'm always very aware of, I guess, being very respectful of those things and the journey, because it hasn't always been what it is now, the fame and money and things, and she really did go through some hard times. So I think performance-wise, it's trying to honour that and respect that and show that without going too deep into it, because at the end of the day, it's a comedy. So it's just trying to find the nuances in that in terms of performance that still kind of keep it on a certain level, but we're still able to feel that she is struggling a lot through those early days. So, yeah.
And Joseph, Rocky is such a big personality, but part of this season we'll get to see him after his wrestling career. Is that going to allow you to show some of his more vulnerable moments?
I think we are going to see some vulnerable moments from Rocky, but at the end of the day, Rocky is going to be Rocky. So, it's definitely a different Rocky from what we saw season 1.
Thank you.
Thanks. Jamie from Starry Constellation.
I know that Thane would like an opportunity to speak. Should we let him chat at the end, since he says he has speech to text?
Oh, great. Yes, that'd be great.
He sent you a message in the Tori in the chat box, just so you know.
Stacey, have you met with the real Atta or discussed your role with her?
I have discussed the role with her. I've met her virtually only. One of the special things about this show is that we've filmed it during COVID times, and I'm in New Zealand on the other side of the world. So just because of COVID and the restrictions, we haven't been able to connect with them in person, but definitely virtually, connecting through social media, messaging and things like that. So that will do for now, but I'm really hoping that one day we'll be able to give each other big hugs.
How has your life changed since you started on this show?
My life has changed. I think, oh God, I mean, it's been such a huge change, but it feels like, I mean, I have young children, and just with filming, I'm in Australia for 5 months out of a year. That's been probably the biggest shift for me, is trying to, parent from another country, and it's a real juggling act that I didn't have to kind of consider before, because I was always only taking work that allowed me to be here in Auckland. And so suddenly something like this puts you in the spotlight in a really great way. And it's great to be able to be in a role like this and be connected to the Johnson Maivia family like this, because it's just it's just such an honor. And I always think I'm going to go through the rest of my life, and whatever happens after the show, but I'll always feel connected to them and their story and the legacy that they have brought with them, from way back in the 60s. So that's huge. I mean, I'm definitely, not worrying about money as much as I used to, but before getting this role, I was a sole parent on a benefit, trying to look after my daughter, and sort of in a weird way, the art has imitated my personal life, because a lot of things, when Ata goes through and she's talking about the struggle and just trying to make ends meet and put her child first, I'm like, when I met with Ata the first time, we talked about this, and we kind of shared our own stories and cried. On a day-to-day, those things, they change your life, and it change how you operate, changes the things that you worry about. I think about my daughter's future and all those sort of things. It just was stuff that I don't have to worry about anymore, which is it's huge for me on a personal level. So, yeah.
Thank you. We have 5 more minutes left if anyone else in the group has another question to ask.
Sure. Stacey and Joseph, I love the marriage that Rocky and Ata have. They're sort of, at this point in their relationship, a little bit of marriage goals going on. But eventually, we do know that there does come a time where they split. What kind of relationship dynamics between the two of them and their marriage will we be seeing this season? We see that they don't like to spend too much time apart from one another, and the family dynamics as well.
The thing I do like about this season is that we start seeing, I guess, the hints and some beginnings of what we all know is going to be happening eventually in the future, without, again, giving too much away. But I think it's the thing that the show does so beautifully is that, like I said before, they don't shy away from presenting the truth of what happened with this family, but at the same time it's handled with a lot of I guess dignity and respect, and also fits into this frame of a comedy. So you've got these beautiful scenes that you guys will see where they're fighting, but somehow, like, as the audience, you might be laughing because it's a little bit ridiculous, or Rocky's just being Rocky and Ata's kind of, whatever. So Yeah, again, it's just that roller coaster, and I think it's just, I mean, credit to the writers and showrunners, because the way that they do it is just, it's just amazing, because it's not fully like a drama where we're kind of crying and going, oh my gosh, but we're not sort of laughing our heads off as well. It's kind of sits nicely in the middle where we get it and we know what's kind of what we're saying and what's kind of coming without it being sort of too up front, if that makes sense. So yeah, you will see a bit more of that this season.
And Joseph, what does it mean to you to be playing such an iconic individual? I mean, Rocky is a bigger than life personality, but he made his mark on the wrestling industry, and he's been one of the greats through the years.
Yeah, I just give all glory to God, because it's definitely been a blessing getting this role and this job. But it's funny because Rocky is such a big character, on the show, and me personally, I'm the complete opposite. I'm very quiet and kind of like to myself, but it's just been, I couldn't have asked for a better experience. My castmates are just amazing. Stacey, she's so talented and, makes me try to work harder every single day. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful job. You can pay me later. It's a great situation. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was wondering, Joseph, I'm a lifelong wrestling fan and I love your portrayal of Rocky. And I'm wondering, what has your reaction been from other wrestling fans about your portrayal of the Soul Man?
From everything I've seen, it's always been good. They're always like, he's spot on, or, look, they love it. I think the one thing they say bad is that I'm not as big as Rocky, but Rocky was a tank. So, he was a tank. I'm trying, but I believe everyone's been happy with it, and I'm happy that they are happy with it.
Thank you. And Thane, if you have one more question, we have time.